You're not buying some little ticker symbol that bounces around every day. You're buying a part of a business. And as soon as I started thinking about it that way, everything else followed. Very simple.
Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. The biggest problem most people have is they don't think about a stock as being a part of a business. Now, when they buy a farm, they think they're buying a farm, and they say how many bushels of corn will it produce, or how many bushels of soybean will it produce in an average year? What are the taxes? What do I have to pay the tenant farmer? They look at it as an actual farming business. When they buy an apartment house, they say, what can I rent it for? How much vacancy will I have? What will it cost me to manage it? How often do I have to replace the roof? All of it. They look at it as a business. But when they look at a stock, a lot of people, when they look at a stock, they just look at it as something that people say may go up, or maybe it'll split next week, or or somebody's got a target price on it. Can you imagine having a target price on a farm or an apartment house? It's crazy. Yep. So the key thing is to think about a stock as a part of a business. Just forget about the stock part.
Do you think people? So I want a simple business, easy to understand, great economics now, honest and able management, and then I can see about, in a general way, where they're going to be 10 years from now. And if I can't see where they're going to be 10 years from now, I don't want to buy it. Basically, I don't want to buy any stock where if they close the New York Stock Exchange tomorrow for 5 years, I won't be happy owning it. I buy a farm, and I don't get a quote on it for 5 years, and I'm happy if the farm does okay. I buy an apartment house, don't get a quote on it for 5 years. I'm happy if the apartment house produces the returns that I expect. But people buy a stock, and they look at the price the next morning, and they decide whether they're doing well or not doing well. It's crazy, because they're buying a piece of a business. That's what Graham, the most fundamental part of what he taught me. You're not buying a stock, you're buying a part ownership in a business. You will do well if the business does well, and if you didn't pay a totally silly price. And that's what it's all about. And you ought to buy businesses you understand. Just like if you're buying farms, you ought to buy farms you understand. It's not complicated.
If you're emotional about investment, you're not going to do well. You may have all these feelings about the stock. The stock has no feelings about you.
But time is the friend of the wonderful business. It's the enemy of the lousy business. If you're in a lousy business for a long time, you're going to get a lousy result, even if you buy it cheap. If you're in a wonderful business for a long time, even if you pay a little too much going in, you're going to get a wonderful result if you stay in a long time. I mean, you really want your decision making to be by looking in the mirror and saying to yourself, I'm buying 100 shares of General Motors at 55 because. And I mean, it's your responsibility if you're buying it, and there's got to be a reason. And if you can't state the reason, you shouldn't buy it. If it's because somebody told you about it at a cocktail party, not good enough. I mean, it's got to be something. It can't be because the volume, the chart looks good on it or anything like that. It's got to be a reason you'd buy the business, and we stick to pretty carefully. That's one of the things Ben Graham taught me. But we have never either bought a business or not bought a business because of any macro feeling of any kind. We don't read things about predictions about interest rates or business or anything like that because it doesn't make any difference. I mean, let's say in 1972 when we bought See's Candy, I think maybe Nixon put on the price controls a little bit later. Let's say we'd seen that, but so what? We'd have missed a chance to buy something for $25 million that's earning $60 million pre-tax now. I mean, we don't want to pass up the chance to do something intelligent because of some prediction about something that we're no good on it anyway. So we just don't read or listen to or do anything in relation to macro factors at all. Zero. And the typical investment counseling organization goes out and they bring out their economists, they trot them out, and he gives you this big macro picture, and then they start working from there on down. In our view, that's nonsense. And if Alan Greenspan was on one side of me and Bob Rubin on the other side, they were both whispering in my ear exactly what they're going to do the next 12 months. It wouldn't make any difference to me in what I pay for executive jet or general reinsurance or anything else I do.
The biggest thing in making money is time. You don't have to be particularly smart. You just have to be patient.
Reach its full potential. Well, ideally, you buy in businesses where you feel that will never happen in terms of, I mean, I don't think I don't buy Coke with the idea that it's going to be out of gas in 10 years, or 15 years. I mean, there could be something happen, but I would think the chances of that are almost nil. So what we really want to do is buy businesses that we would be happy to own forever.
No furniture.